Now, let's begin the story of Mother Holle. This was, of course, during the coldest times of the year with snow. You see, and in the village, just on the outskirts of the town, was a woman who was a widow. She lost her husband, and the only thing he left her, aside from the house and the farm, was a daughter. Her name was Hildegard, and she was one of the sweetest girls ever. Now, of course, the woman had a daughter of her own named Hilda, but she treated each daughter differently. You see, for her own daughter, Hilda, she spoiled very much. She didn't let her do any housework and just let her sleep in her favorite chair by the fireside and made her favorite foods and spent all of her time with her and hoping that one day her daughter would snag the heart of a handsome prince and they would live in a castle. While poor Hildegard, her stepdaughter, was treated with nothing but disrespect and given all the housework of the house. Oh, poor girl, she only had a small shawl to wear outside during these cold times. She didn't even have a nice pair of mittens or gloves, which was such a shame because, you see, she did a lot of her work outside, feeding the animals, drawing water from the well, and also spinning the flax into thread so that way she could weave it into garments and make clothes. Well, during one morning, and it was so cold out that the snow was falling, she looked up from her spinning and said, "Oh, Mother Holle is shaking her bedding." Which you see, children, as I forgot to mention, that's what happens whenever snow would fall from the sky. You see, everyone knew that it was Mother Holle shaking off her feather bedding. And when her feathers fly from her bedding, it would turn into snowflakes and fall down here to earth. Well, she was trying her best to keep her spirits, but with it being so cold and not wearing gloves, her hands became so chapped with the cold that the flax was cutting into her so much that she actually did get cut. Ouch! Oh no. You see, that oh no was not just because she cut herself, but because her blood fell upon the flax of her spindle. Oh, she didn't want her mother to get so angry with her, so she took the spindle off the spinning wheel and went to the well to try to wash it. But now, as some advice, children, always wear your gloves because, well, and also don't stick your cold hands in the water because icy water and chapped hands are not a good mix, especially for an open wound. For when Hildegard dipped the spindle into the water to try to clean it, the water burned and chilled her. And she dropped the spindle into the water. No, wait! She tried to reach for it again, but it was too late. The spindle sunk down into the well like a stone and disappeared. Oh no, what am I going to do? That was our only spindle. Well, she went inside to tell her stepmother and Hilda, and they were furious with her. "What do you mean you dropped it into the well, you foolish girl?" "I'm so sorry, stepmother. I didn't mean to, and my hands, I really need some gloves, and I'm bleeding." "That doesn't matter. You get that spindle back." "Yeah," said Hilda, yawning by her favorite chair. "You better get it, or else Mother will never let you in this house ever again." But stepmother..." "Don't you but me. Get that spindle out of the well right now." Hildegard went outside, but what was she to do? She couldn't see it. It was gone for good. But if she didn't get it, she wouldn't be allowed back in the house. So she did the only thing she could think of. She climbed up to the top of the well and jumped in. Splash! And slowly she went down into the well, trying to find it. But the strange thing was, as deeper she got, the water from cold freezing went to a nice pleasant warmness, and there was lights. A beautiful glow of lights that were different rainbow colors swirled around her. How strange, she thought, and even more so, she realized she could breathe underwater. This must be a dream, she thought. She closed her eyes, and when she opened them again, she wasn't in the well. She was on a grassy hillside. Very strange. She got up and brushed herself off and decided that she should go and try to find her spindle. Well, as she walked along, she saw a big apple tree with sturdy branches, and they were bearing down with all these big red apples. "Please," cried the tree, "help me. Please help me. My branches are bowing down. They want these apples to fall down to the ground." "Oh, you poor thing," said Hildegard. "Hold on. She reached up to the tree branches and gently began to shake. And as she did so, the apples fell down to the ground, and soon the tree was able to lift its branches high up again. Thank you so much, dear. You're welcome. Could you tell me where I am? Why, of course, you're in the world of Mrs. Holle. If you follow down that road, you'll find her, and she'll help you. Take one of my apples for the road. Thank you. She picked one up and ate it, and it was the most delicious, sweetest apple ever. Juice even dribbled down her chin, and it was so sweet. Well, as she kept walking, she smelled something. It was bread. As she followed the smell, she saw a big stone oven outside. Please help! Cried voices from inside. What's going on? Cried Hildegard. Please help us, take us out, or else we're going to burn. Oh, you poor dears. Well, Hildegard quickly grabbed a wooden panel, opened the oven doors, and pulled out some freshly baked bread. Oh, you smell so delicious. There you go, and she placed all the bread into the baskets that were by the side. Thank you, they cried. Thank you. Well, she closed the oven, and she went on her way. And soon she came to a beautiful cottage. She went up to the door and knocked on it. When the door opened, she was startled at first. There was a woman, and she was very old and had a very disturbed, ugly appearance. Why, hello there, my dear. Hello, forgive me. Oh, don't worry, dear Hildegard. I know I'm not quite a beauty, but I am beauty in my own way. But how do you know my name? Why, I am Mother Holle. I know everything there is to know. Come inside, my dear. Well, Hildegard went inside and was so impressed how beautiful the cottage was. Would you like to stay here for a while? I could use some help. Of course, Mother Holle, I'll do what I can to help you. First, will you shake my feather bedding? Of course. Where is it? Why, it's upstairs. I'll show you. She led her up to her bedroom, and out of her window was a balcony, and there, over the railing, was Mother Holle's feather bedding. Would you please give it a good shaking? Of course. Hildegard took it up in her arms and shook it, and as hard as she shook, many feathers began to fall out of it and down and disappeared. Well, they disappeared from that realm, but in our realm, the feathers slowly turned into snowflakes and gently fell down from the sky like big cotton balls. My goodness, people of the town said, look at all the snow falling. Yes, Mother Holle is shaking her bedding. Well, they should actually say Hildegard is shaking Mother Holle's bedding. Well, she stayed for quite a long time helping Mother Holle with the cleaning and the cooking, and they had wonderful days together. And even though Mother Holle was very kind to her, poor Hildegard felt very sad a while later. My dear, what's wrong? Mother Holle, please don't think me ungrateful. It's just, I miss my home. Ah, so that's what's been bothering you. But are you sure you wish to return there? After all, your stepmother and stepsister did not treat you well. I know, but they're all I have. Please, may I go home? Of course, my dear. Come with me, and I will take you to the entrance to your home world. As they left the cottage, they went to a beautiful stone archway. Oh, here, your spindle, all clean. Thank you, I almost forgot about it. And because you've been so good and full of industry, I wish to reward you. When you stand under the archway, hold open your skirts. My skirts? All right. She did. She raised up her skirts, and all of a sudden, it rained gold. Beautiful, solid gold coins, and she caught all of them in her skirt, and there were so many. And no matter how many seemed to rain, her skirt had enough of them. Thank you so much, Mother Holle. Thank you. Well, moments later, she appeared back in her own world. She was by the well and by a whole puddle of gold coins and the spindle. Her stepmother and sister came running out, and oh, my goodness! Where did you get all these gold coins? Why, they're from Mother Holle. She scooped them up and took them inside. Oh, and I have the spindle back. She cleaned my blood off of it. Well, they were so impressed, they started to pretend to be nice to her. They asked Hildegard again how to get to Mother Holle, and Hildegard explained everything. Well, later that day, the stepmother went to her own daughter. Hilda, Hilda, dear, wake up, Buttercup. Mom, I'm tired. I just want to relax. Yes, but dear, you're going to go see Mother Holle. What do you mean? Well, don't you want all that beautiful gold that your stepsister got? Yes, of course. Well, then you have to go. She dragged poor Hilda outside and took a spindle that was full of flax. Now we just have to spill some blood on it. You're not going to do that to me. Sorry, dear, you have no choice. She wrestled Hilda and poked her with the spindle and dripped some of her blood on it. There. Now we toss it in the well. And just like before, it sank down to the bottom. Now go in after it. But, Ma, I don't know how to swim. Don't you worry about it. Now, come on. And once again, with more wrestling and fighting, she pushed Hilda into the water. And down she sank. But, Hilda was one of those people who didn't see all the beautifulness of the water. She didn't see the sparkling rainbow lights and didn't even realize she could breathe underwater. In fact, she was so worried about her safety, she puffed up her lips like a pufferfish. Sorry, for those of you who didn't know, she puffed up her lips and held her breath like a pufferfish. Soon she reached the wonderful world of Mrs. Holle, and as she quickly followed the path, she saw the apple tree as before. Please help me. Help shake my branches so my apples will fall down to the ground. Are you crazy? Said Hilda. I don't want your rotten apples to fall on my head. Poor apple tree. He only had the help of the wonderful squirrels that came by and the rabbits to help bring the apples down. Well, Hilda went further along and then came to the stone ovens. Please help us, cried the bread. We're already done. We need to come out or we're going to burn. Burn for all I care. I'm not going to pull you out. After all, I'll get all sweaty. Oh, my goodness. Well, soon Hilda came to the cottage of Mother Holle and knocked proudly on the door. Mother Holle answered the door and saw that this girl was not even afraid of her. For after all, Hildegard had told her about Mother Holle's appearance. Hilda put on her biggest smile. I'm Mother Holle. I'm Hilda. I've come to help you. Oh, I see, said Mother Holle. Well, first things first, would you please come upstairs and shake my feather bedding? Sure. Well, she went up the stairs and went to the bedding and shook it. But being a girl who didn't work hard, she could only shake it so much. Only a few little feathers fell, barely even one or two. And as they didn't turn into lovely snowfall. No, they turned into rain. And the townspeople down below was like, my goodness, what is going on? Oh, Mother Holle must be having problems shaking her bedding. Usually we get snow, not rain. Mother Holle was watching. This will not do. For she knew about Hilda and what she was like. Hilda, dear, I think it's time for you to go. Oh, boy. Well, I'm glad I got to help you. Will you give me a present? I certainly will. Well, Mother Holle led her to the beautiful stone gateway. Now, here's your spindle back. Thanks. Now, where's my present? Well, you'll have to hold open your skirts as you pass by under the archway. It is a reward for all your industry. Well, luckily, Hilda remembered to wear her dress with a big skirt. Okay, ready! And as she passed under, waiting for all the gold coins, instead came a bunch of sticky, stinky, smelly mud and sap. It was disgusting. Ew! Ugh. No matter how hard she tried to wipe it off, she couldn't. Ew! Yuck. Well, before long she was back by the well and covered with all that sticky, muddy, smelly sap. Oh, her mother came out. Darling, what happened? I don't know. Well, her mother tried to help her, but she slipped and she fell in the sappy, sticky mud. And no matter what they did or how hard they tried, they never got that stuff off of them. Well, and as for Hildegard, she decided to take her gold coins and to keep a few, but to share some with the other villagers and those less fortunate. And as she was distributing them to the poor, she saw a young man riding by on a horse. It was the prince of the kingdom, and he was so touched by not only her kindness but her beauty as well, that he took her to his castle and made her his queen. And they lived happily ever after. The end.